I met Catia when I was 15 years old, and I married her while most of my friends were still in high school. And to be completely honest, our marriage has been easy. Some of you are confused by what I just said, and some of you are a little bit upset and completely disagree. But let me explain. So why did I choose to get married more than a decade earlier than the average person? In a world full of dating apps and short-term gratification, I managed to commit to something that everyone seems so afraid of. It all started when I was 14. School, video games, repeat. This was my life. I'm sure that sounds typical for a freshman in high school, but repeating this cycle enough times made me ask myself a question. Why am I like everyone else? For a year leading up to 2017, I had a growing discomfort. I started thinking there has to be more to life than this. Why am I wasting so much time on things that I don't even care about? When do I decide to grow up and become a man? My discomfort eventually became unbearable. While I saw everyone around me diving deeper down the rabbit hole of social media and short-lived relationships, I chose to step back and pursue deeper things, to, as some would say, escape the matrix. This decision was a disaster for about a year, but eventually, by the grace of God, true transformation happened the summer after I turned 15. 1 week after I became a man in my own heart and mind, a man of integrity and purpose, I met her. What you may not know is that Catia had never had a close relationship with a guy before. Being in a relationship was not on her radar at all. When we met, I only cared about pursuing God and being the best friend I could be. For real. I was focused. No secret motives, no time wasting. While every other guy my age was trying to put on a show, and for lack of a better word, finesse their way into relationships, I was simply me. To be honest, she had never met a guy like me, and I'm not saying that to puff myself up. I was confident in who I was, and I didn't waste time on pointless things. I've actually imagined a couple times what it would be like for me to go back in time and try to win her all over again. I don't know if I could do it. Knowing that she would be my wife today, if I made any moves to be more than friends, she would have shut it down really quickly, and that may have stopped everything before it even started. It's actually kind of funny. There's things that my 15-year-old self did and believed that I admire greatly. Since I was just focused on friendship and proved myself to be trustworthy, I unintentionally won Catia's trust. The way we went about our friendship and marriage is half of the reason we will never be divorced. I had just turned 16, and this was 7 months after I met Catia. I walked into her dad's office. He looked up from his desk. No small talk, just straight to the point. I asked for Catia's hand in marriage. He stood up and started yelling at me. After a while of yelling at me, he sat back down and exhaled. "Okay, you can marry her," he said. There was an old box TV on his desk, and I went into the TV. And me and Catia were sitting on a boat, married. Then I woke up. It was a dream. I was 16 years old, but when I woke up from that dream, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that my best friend would be my wife one day. It took me a few weeks to bring this up to her. At this point, most people would have had a rush of emotions and had no idea what to do with them. You've heard it a million times. Young love, it's amazing while it lasts, but it ends in heartbreak. So even though we just found out that we were going to get married in the future, we decided to stay friends. But long story short, we got engaged June 9th, 2019, and were married December 28th of the same year. I had just turned 18 and she had just turned 20. How do I know that we will never get divorced? Something that happened the day when I told her about the dream was a covenant in my heart. I know that's an old word, but sometimes we need old words to describe the timelessness and weight of what we're saying. Another reason I know that we'll never get divorced is because we were best friends before any ounce of romance started between us. We went from friends to best friends to knowing we would get married. And finally after that, we dated. Most people go from shallow friendship, have a huge rush of attraction, date, and then decide if they want to commit to this person. We've now been married for 3 years, We have a beautiful daughter, and we're building our life together. But no matter what, deep down, we're still those two children who became best friends. A love of innocence, adventure, and the grace of God are what bound us together. And as long as I'm breathing, that will never change. I'll leave you with 2 pieces of advice that have given me everything I have. When you want something, you have to commit fully. I don't know why it works this way, but it does, with everything. Second, today is the most important day of your life. I didn't get the love of my life by making big promises. I got her by being fully present each day, giving her the best version of myself. If you live your life with these 2 things in mind, you'll quickly start to see that you have more potential than anyone knows.